Good day, friends. This is Casey again with Aligned Astrology. Happy to have you back. Today we're going to be doing horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. We're going to be talking about this new moon in Capricorn. You may have already seen the previous video where we broke down the new moon and talked about the different aspects connecting to the new moon, the importance of Saturn and how it expresses itself. And we'll talk about it individually today in regards to our particular zodiac signs. Now I invite you to listen to your rising signs when we go over this video, because the rising sign determines where all of the planets land in your own zodiac chart. We can listen to our sun signs here, and if it lands, that's great, but if it doesn't, maybe the rising sign will work out a little bit better for us. Maybe I'll do a video talking about the origins of horoscopic astrology soon, so we can understand the background of where it comes from and the importance of understanding our rising sign and how it basically portrays our life experience. I like to look at the rising sign kind of like our soul nature, what we're born into. Of course, we're born under our sun sign, but the world sees us as that rising sign. Our sun sign it seems like that's what we're supposed to become in this life. Of course, we carry the natural characteristics and tendencies, being that it's our sun sign, but it's something that needs to bloom. I see it like our guiding light in this life. And that's why it's important to look at our new moons and our full moons to see what the sun is directing us towards at this point in time. So as we pull up the chart today, we're going to look at this new moon in Capricorn. It is the tropical earthy yin sign of the zodiac. And when we look at Capricorn, the sea goat, we know it for its consistency. We know it for its devotional aspects. But we also know that Capricorn is an earth sign, and it likes that tangible material security, that grounded connection with the things that it wants to achieve. We may have that one Capricorn friend, or we may be that very Capricorn who craves that security, who's very good with money and making sure that they have the things that they need. And when Capricorn starts out, Capricorn is very serious about these things and puts all their focus, their intention on achieving their goals. But Capricorn, at a point in time in their experience, they begin to have connections with others and begin to soften into their true nature and see that their goals are deeper than just supporting themselves. Maybe it's supporting a family or supporting their community. Maybe they become a philanthropist and want to support different communities and agencies and people who need financial support for their dreams to come true. A lot of the times Capricorns can create a space for those things to come into fruition. But when we look at that sign of Capricorn in our own particular zodiac, we tend to see this place of devotion in our own lives. And we'll go through all 12 zodiac signs to see how this form of devotion or consistency, I always like to say consistency when it comes to Capricorn, because it's the sea goat. It's the goat that climbs the mountain towards the peak. When we can find this this place in our own chart, we can really see Capricorn expressed. One thing I always like to share in regards to astrology is we may have a rising sign, we may have a sun sign and a moon sign. Our planets are scattered across the chart wherever they may land. We express ourselves in these different ways according to the zodiac, but we are all of the zodiac signs encompassed into ourselves. So we can see these parts of ourselves in these different parts of our lives, and it's beautiful to be able to experience it. So we can't separate ourselves from any of these signs. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chart now so we can take a look at the horoscopes for today. And of course, we're going to start with Aries rising. As an Aries rising, if you are, you will experience this Capricorn new moon in the 10th house. The 10th house is our career. It is what the world sees us for, how we choose to present ourselves and what we have to offer. Now, when we look at this new moon in Capricorn, we know that there's been that stellium of personal planets moving through this zodiac sign. And right now we still have, of course, our new moon, the sun and the moon coming into conjunction, creating that new beginning here. But we also have Mercury conjoining Mars in the 10th house. So this can show that this new moon is being grounded by our actions, by our decisive thought. So it's giving us the opportunity to plan ahead and move towards a direction of new inspiration and consistent devotion towards some sort of career aspect or dream that we want to achieve, that we want to accomplish. Remember, we have Saturn, the ruler of this new moon, still in the zodiac sign of Pisces. It's been here for 2.5 years, and it's going through its last few degrees before it moves into the sign of Aries. Now, this is the last bit of dreaming that we have for this career endeavor, Aries rising. This is the last bit of planning that we're moving towards. And it's important to recognize that when the planet Saturn moves into the sign of Aries, the planning is done. It's opportunity for action now. And Saturn, as a planet of maturity and structure, is going to lead us towards the structure that we want to create. All we have to do is remain consistent, remain in our action-based mode. And a lot of the times when we look at a new moon, it is the planting of a seed. The last video was the seed of devotion. So this is something that we're beginning, that we are going to find a way to continue and be consistent with. So as you take these moments for yourself, this new moon, a time of internal revisioning, an opportunity to understand truly what we're moving towards, as we take these moments for this new moon to express and bloom, we need to look at ourselves deeply and say, is this what I want for myself? And then if it is yes, we take our actions and we move forward. And when Saturn moves into the sign of Aries in February, we are going to then have that direction that we need to move into. And it's not necessarily going to be directly of the mind, but it is going to be of our instinctual nature, of our intuitive nature. So as this unfolds, Aries risings, notice how your career path begins to change and transform based on your own accord. Next, we'll look at Taurus rising. Taurus rising will have this new moon in the 9th house. 9th house is our higher learning. It is our long distance travel. It also can be the realm of truth in our experience, so we can go towards the ideas of astrology or religion in this case. So when we look at a new moon here, there's the planting of a seed of maybe a new belief system, maybe a new financial structure that we're learning about. Maybe it could be correlated to a new community that we've joined, that we're connecting with. And when we think about having this Mars and this Mercury in conjunction here, we're understanding what it means to take action towards the group, the connections in this group that we're creating, and to understand what financial endeavors we can gain or use to support our own creativity from the things that we've been learning, from the group that we're connecting with. And that Saturn in the 11th house of Pisces could be cultivating ideas for us from this group or community that we're moving along the path in. And when Saturn moves into that 12th house, into the 12th house of Aries, into the subconscious mind. The 12th house, we look at it and we see it as a subconscious mind, but it is also going to be the place where Aries resides for you, Taurus risings. So when that Saturn moves there and rules over this new moon, and it begins to express itself, we'll remember this new moon for January 18th and understand that this is the seed that was planted that's going to grow from the depths of myself that I was not necessarily aware of, from the depths of myself that were being shown to me, from this internal experience that I'm beginning to embark upon. For Taurus risings, understand how an opportunity, traveling somewhere or learning something new, can dramatically transform your way of seeing yourself and understanding how to express yourself in a more devotional way. So as this unfolds towards risings, let us know what comes up. Next, we'll look at the Gemini risings. Then Gemini rising, you'll have this new moon of Capricorn in the 8th house. The 8th house is the place of transformation. It is the place of karma. It is also the place of esteem of others or other people's money. It's closely correlated with how other people see us or what other people can do for us, whether it be emotionally or financially, some sort of support system from the outside. Having the planets both Mars and Mercury in a conjunction here in the 8th house can give us an understanding of the efforts that we need to put in order to receive from outside sources, in our own personal expression. And we can understand this from our own place of solitude, coming back to ourselves. Once again, the new moon is a planting of a seed where we begin inside. We begin within ourselves and we understand what we want for ourselves. And when we can cultivate that, we begin to move in that direction. Now let's not talk about Neptune right now, but we'll talk about this Saturn in the sign of Pisces that has been moving through Pisces for the last 2.5 years. Moving through your 10th house, your career, your public role, what you want to be seen for in your experience, has been sort of a dream, or a dream coming into reality. Remember that Saturn is the planet that structures, that creates through our efforts, something that matures us over time. So we can understand that whatever we've been working towards these last couple of years is beginning to come to fruition. We're beginning to gain opportunity to receive for our efforts, or to connect with new groups in the future that will help us to move towards these dreams coming into reality. Remember, this is the beginning of the end. We must allow the seed to die in order for something new to bloom and express itself, creating support in our life. For Gemini rising, next is Cancer rising. And Cancer rising, you are experiencing this new moon in the 7th house. The 7th house of relationships. Having a new moon here in the 7th house. And we can also look at the 7th house from a traditional standpoint. This is the place of endings when we see it. So having a new moon here is beginning something brand new in our one-on-one relationships. It could be a new business partner we're connecting with. It could be a relational partner that we're connecting with. And when we understand how new moons work, we understand that they don't necessarily show themselves right away. They begin to bloom and express. So I like to speak about the 6-month process of the lunation cycle. We start at a new moon, and then as the 6 months goes by, we begin to come to that full moon. So we have our new moon in Capricorn, and then about 6 months from now, we'll have a full moon in Capricorn, where this expression has become full grown. So we can take a look at the planets conjoining with the new moon here. Mercury, and Mars in the 7th house. We can understand that this may have something to do with our career or business that we may be a part of, our own creative endeavors. And we can also understand that this is something that's going to transform our daily waking life. It's going to be an opportunity for us to be devotional and consistent with something that we've been wanting to work towards for a long time. And as we move forward along this way, it's going to begin to reveal itself slowly but surely as we continue along this path, as we keep climbing this mountain, the way will begin to show. In Cancer risings, this is it. Next, we're looking at Leo rising. Leo risings has this new moon in Capricorn in the 6th house of service, of work. Now, when we understand a new moon here, it is something new that we can be devotional towards, something new that we can work towards consistently. Maybe we've been putting a lot of effort in at a particular job that we've been a part of, and maybe something new is coming from that. Maybe a new opportunity is beginning to present itself. Maybe we've gained some new learnings, some new insight towards a new path, towards a new direction. And now we've decided that we want to be a teacher in a sort of way, or connect with a different community. And when we find ourselves connecting with a new community, a new group of people that we can share ourselves with and maybe be a support system for, this spark of devotion is going to be ignited within us. And having that Mars in its exaltation place in the sign of Capricorn is going to show us exactly what we need to do to direct our energy and expression in a way that is going to benefit not only us, but benefit the connections that we have, the groups that we're going to be a part of. And remember, the 6th house as the daily consistent efforts we take towards an achievement or perceived goal. So as this seed begins to blossom, remember that we're not only doing this for ourselves, but we're doing this for the benefit of others. And that Saturn, the ruler over this 6th house Capricorn new moon, is moving through the 8th house of transformation, or the 8th house of the esteem of others. And we can notice that it is going to come from how people value us, how people feel about us. And as this Saturn moves from Pisces into Aries, maybe we gain an opportunity to feel it, to simply feel the direction that we need to go in. For Leo risings, remember to let your light shine, and your eternal guidance is going to show you the way. Virgo risings experiences this new moon in Capricorn in the 5th house of creativity. This is also the house of romance, the house of children. When we think about the 5th house and we think about the ideas of creativity from the standpoint of Capricorn, it can be correlated with something tangible, something material that we need to be developing. Maybe it's a business that we're developing. Maybe it has something to do with being received financially. Maybe we're cultivating something from our own expression that we are beginning to provide the world with, or our target market that we want to appeal to. Having a new moon here is planting that seed. Maybe we've just opened a business or something along these lines. Maybe we're learning what it means to step out of our own way, to allow ourselves to create freely, to create consistently, and find a devotional characteristic in this creative realm in our experience. And having Saturn that has been moving through our 7th house can show maybe it's us working one-on-one with people in this business. Maybe it's giving us the opportunity to feel and be more empathic and understand what people need. And as we move down this path, maybe we soften a little bit. Maybe we begin to understand how to be ourselves more authentically and share in the space of creativity with a new group, connections with the other people that we surround ourselves with. And we talked about it in the previous video, that planet Jupiter that's been opposing all of these planets as they pass by. It's not only helping us to look at ourselves emotionally, but understanding how to connect and experience the emotions of a community that we may be a part of, Virgo rising. So as this new moon unfolds, remember, as you connect and express yourself authentically, you begin to understand what the people around you are really looking for. And maybe you already have it to offer. Here we'll look into, in Libra rising, you are experiencing this new moon in Capricorn in the fourth house of our foundation, home, and family. Now, in traditional astrology, the fourth house is also correlated with the father figure, or paternal expression, or something along these lines. And when we think about this place for the fourth house, there's something that we need to be connecting with on our own internal experience, our place of solitude. What do we need to be working on behind the scenes that we need to be consistent with, that's going to help us to not only learn something new, but understand something that we don't necessarily know about ourselves? We can understand that having Mars here in the fourth house, we can begin cultivating something that's going to be very beneficial for our own selves, our own self-esteem, and how we choose to express ourselves, and how we connect with the community, or how we connect with our one-on-one relationships. As Saturn moves into its new placement in the sign of Aries as we move into February, Saturn is going to be in a tough place for itself. Saturn is going to be in its own fallen state. Now, this is what we call the dignities of the planet. This is one of the essential dignities of the planet. So Saturn naturally moves through Aries in its place in its fallen space, whereas if it was moving through your rising sign Libra, it would be exalted. So now we get to look at our counterparts, our one-on-one relationships, our mirrors, to see the greatest things about ourselves. Maybe there's challenges that we need to overcome in our one-on-one relationships that are going to mold us into a new person, or even a new person in relationship. So understand that this full moon is something that's going to be coming up. It's going to be showing itself slowly behind the scenes, blossoming. Libra rising. Next, we're moving into Scorpio rising. Scorpio risings, new moon in Capricorn in the third house. Now, the third house is considered to be the joy of the moon. Now, planetary joys are where the planets land in the zodiac, in particular signs, and they gain a natural sort of prowess. They express themselves very well in the particular houses where they find their planetary joy. Now we have the moon, who experiences its planetary joy in the third house because the moon moves fast. It is the fastest moving planet in our zodiac. And the third house is our day-to-day workings. It's the places that we frequent on a daily basis. We go to and fro from. So the moon is also correlated with our physical body. It can be correlated with our emotional expression. And being in an earth sign, especially in the sign of Capricorn, we're understanding our devotion. We're understanding what it means to mature around our daily experiences, how to find the even medium between the effort and ease, to find that equilibrium in this space. And we've had the benefit of experiencing Jupiter in opposition to these planets that have passed along the way, coming into that opposition where we can understand the importance of the things that we've been learning, and the empathy that we've gained in our relationships over this time, and the equal balance that we need to create between taking action towards our goals and remembering our own emotional well-being and the well-being of our partners and the people that we are in connection with. It's always important to get the things done that we need to get done, but we must always continue to take into consideration the feelings of other people, because when we do this, we can find that genuine nurturing self that Capricorn truly is. Because when we get too involved in the daily workings of life, too involved in meeting that goal, we can become cold and separated. And we can understand the Capricorn as one of the signs that, when connected emotionally, finds an entirely new experience of devotion. So, for Scorpio risings, as you move throughout your experiences, as you set your new goals, and understand the direction that you need to be taking, remember the people that you support. Sagittarius rising, this new moon is in Capricorn in the second house. Capricorn in the second house, in my own opinion, seems to be like such an awesome placement to have, because when we think about Capricorn, sometimes we think about money. And the second house is the money house, right? It's our financial well-being. It's the things that are connected to us but not necessarily us. It's also the house that's correlated with our self-esteem or even food. But when we think about having an earth sign like Capricorn in the second house, we're moving towards a material stability of some sort. So what comes to mind is financial stability. Having Mars in this zodiac sign in its exaltation place where it receives high praise can show that there's some material stability is going to be coming from our way of creativity. Since it is correlated and in conjunction with Mercury at this time, it can be something that we're doing for a career that is going to lead us to that said material stability. As we understand ourselves in this way and we begin to move down the line of devotion, we begin to separate ourselves from the things that no longer serve us. As we look at new moons as new beginnings, there also has to be coming with something that we need to let go of. With everything that is new, that is received, there is something that is old that is being released. So having this new moon in this place, we're going to begin to blossom this experience. And as these next 6 months go by and we move into June in the Cancer season and have the full moon here in the sign of Capricorn, we'll see what fruits we have bared. Having the planet of Saturn moving through the fourth house of foundation is something that we're creating behind the scenes in our place of solitude, where no one's looking, the efforts that we're putting. And when Saturn moves into the fifth house, into the sign of Aries, we're going to already be ready, Sagittarius rising. We're going to be ready to move forward. And there's not necessarily going to be the mind there where we think, but there's going to be the instinctual expression that Aries is, moving through that mature Saturn. So, as this time unfolds, notice what it is that you are looking for, what security you're trying to find, and move towards it. We have a last bit of planning here with that Saturn moving through Pisces, and when mid-February hits, it seems like we're going to be off to the races. Next, we're looking at Capricorn rising. Capricorn rising. You experience this new moon in the first house. Having a new moon in the first house is a new beginning of the self. When we understand it's a new beginning of the self, it's something that we're cultivating for ourselves, especially as an earth sign. There's a material transformation that's going to be undergoing. Maybe it's of our physical body. Maybe it's our health. Maybe it's something that's going to be correlated with a community that we're involved in. Maybe we need to leave a community or start a community. Maybe there's something that we've learned that we're beginning to implement into our experience that could lead us towards a new career. We just had a couple of different Kazimis with the sun in your first house in Capricorn. Mercury, not Mercury, but we've had the Venus Kazimi. We've had Mars Kazimi. And these two planets, our values and our actions, are being born anew within ourselves as if you're a Capricorn rising. And that Saturn, which rules over your first house, has been moving through your third house, your daily waking life, the places that you frequent from day to day, has been molding you, has been changing you, has been operating in your mind, opening the realm of fantasy, of internal intuitive guidance to you. And when Saturn moves into the fourth house, there's going to be a sort of working on ourselves, a sort of effort that we're taking behind the scenes that's going to mold us into the person that we want to be, that more authentic version of ourselves. So, Capricorn rising, as this new moon unfolds, see what fruits it bears when June comes around. Next, we look at Aquarius rising. Aquarius rising will have this new moon in Capricorn in the 12th house. Now, we can understand that a new moon in the 12th house is a seed being planted in our internal world. The 12th house is usually correlated with our subconscious mind. And in astrology, this is one of the houses we consider as a quote-unquote bad house. The reason why we call the 12th house a bad house is because it does not see, it does not see the first house. Any house that sees the first house creates an aspect to it. And since the 12th house and the first house are connected to one another, right next to one another, they do not have a form of communication. So, having that Mars and Mercury conjunction here in the 12th house, a lot of things are going to be coming to the surface that we're going to want to take action towards. And it's going to be something that will be career-based or creativity-based. It'll be correlated with what we have to offer in order to receive, and what we're going to be doing on our daily basis. As these things unfold, they'll just unfold in a more natural way. Usually things that are correlated with the 12th house tend to just show themselves as we move forward in our experience. It's not necessarily something that we can really just grab and find and have a tangible understanding of. This is the thing here. It's something that must grow, something that must bloom, just like a new moon. And when we have Saturn that has been moving through our second house, there's something that we've been learning about ourselves, something that we've been wanting to create in our own experience. So when that Saturn moves into Aries in February, it's going to alter our day. There's going to be natural actions that we're taking, that we're moving towards, that just so happen to allow this new moon to really show itself. And so as Aquarius risings, just be mindful, be aware, because these changes are coming. Lastly, we'll look at Pisces rising. In Pisces rising, you experience this new moon in the 11th house. The 11th house is the community house, or the house of good fortune. When we look at the 11th house, we can see that there may be some sort of community that we're connected to, where we're going to really learn and understand what it means to be of devotion, of consistency with them. When we have that Mercury and that Mars in a conjunction here, it gives us the opportunity to connect on a cognitive level with a group of people and move towards a collective goal that we want to achieve. With Mercury in rulership over our 7th house, it may be connected interpersonally with each person in this group. understanding that we need to really get to know these people and understand what we're being devoted to. Remember, this is the planting of a new beginning here, so maybe there's the time to let go of something to make sure that we can have the time to move forward in this direction. Maybe there's something that we're learning together, something that we want to grow, that we want to build, and having the planet Saturn in our first house, maybe it's been holding us back for a little while. Maybe we're finally gaining the understanding that we need in order to move forward. And when that Saturn moves into our second house, we're going to know how to act. We're going to know what directions we're going to move in. And right now, with this new moon here, we're having that sextile aspect from the Mars, from the planet Mercury over to Saturn. So they're supporting one another right now. They're having that conversation before Saturn moves forward. This is the direction that I want to go. I'm receiving your support. So as these internal workings begin to get the ball rolling, Pisces rising, notice how your community can support you in the things that you want to achieve, and notice what you need to do to support your community. That brings our horoscopes to an end today. Just one more thing I want to leave you all with for this Capricorn new moon is the understanding that this is only the beginning. It's important to remember that as we move forward. There's no rush. Nobody's breathing down our neck that wants us to meet these deadlines. Maybe so, but it's important for us to remain in balance, remain in equilibrium. Remember ourselves first so that we can support and remember the people that we're connected with. Remember to like this video, remember to subscribe, and I'm going to hold the heart up so we can send love. Thanks so much for listening to the video, friends. Remember, I'm Casey and this is Aligned Astrology. If you want a reading, you can find the link in the bio here for my website, www.alignedastrology.com. I love to read for you. It's one of my favorite things to do. Have an awesome day.